Boop. All right, and we're on. It is August 15th, 2022 in the year of our Lord. It's a beautiful Monday, and I have the pleasure of being here in Greenwich, right?
Oh no, it's
Greenwich. I'm sorry,
They
I'm
will
not.
kick you out of town.
We're going to have to no. I'm like a disgusting British person right now to these people. Yeah, and I'm with the new proprietors of one of my favorite bookstores in the region, Owl Pen Books, Sydney and Eric.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much, guys, for agreeing to interview a relatively small podcast about, I guess, the importance of bookstores and, I don't know, very excited to see you guys come in and take on arguably one of, to put it bluntly, a pretty dicey business model. So I guess...
Wait.
Huh?
Well, how so?
Oh, the print media, it's like really struggling in all its forms.
Someone told us, we were interested in crypto, Bitcoin and stuff, and they said, no.
Yeah.
Used books. I
mean, long-term store of value, it's going to beat like a Logan Paul NFT or whatever at any point. Yeah. Unless you guys are deep into like Bored Apes or something, or like, Litecoin. I don't want to like crap all over your investments.
I don't know what foreign language you're speaking right now, but
Oh no?
We're both staring at you like you have a few heads. Like there's definitely.
You guys were from LA. I just figured,
Yeah. No.
That's
why we got out of there.
I got you. Because some influencer took you for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess my first question really is, let me just sort of state first, like, I've been coming to this store I'm 34. I grew up in Saratoga. I've been coming here for over 10 years. I was pretty friendly with Edie Brown, and I never met her husband, who unfortunately passed, I think, 2 years ago,
yeah.
Hank.
Mm-hmm.
But this is sort of an institution, and it's been here since 1945.
1960
1960
is when Barbara started the bookstore. She bought the property in 1945.
Okay.
But for 15 years, she raised chickens and sheep.
Right.
So took a little while to get going with the books here, but.
And that is an important thing because, right, this is a converted chicken coop / like, were the sheep in here?
This was the chicken coop, this
okay.
main building that we're in, yeah. She built this building off of the original barn, which
right.
is where we keep our inventory. The sheep were down. It's a bank barn, so it goes down the hill. The bottom level is open, so the sheep were down there. But yeah, she built this building in the 50s, I believe, and had the chickens in here for a while.
Nice.
And opened the bookstore in the original building across the lawn, which was at one time a hog pen. She never had hogs, but at one point it was a hog pen.
Right.
So the book started in there, and then a few years in, she got rid of the chickens and got more books and filled this place. And
do you know why?
Why she?
What change came over her to not do a working farm?
Well, she just did chickens. She wasn't a full working farm. I think she just got tired of it. 'Cause it's a lot of work.
I mean, she was a single woman most of the time.
Right.
A lesbian woman before it was okay to even say you were a lesbian woman. And so she had various partners that would cycle through, but she was single most of the time. So she, from what I gather from reading her essays and her memoir or diary stuff, pretty much she left for us in a box in the house, which is just
that's incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
She she had this romantic idea of being a farmer,
right?
But then figured out it's a lot of work to do by yourself. So she was also doing publishing work for.
She wrote some articles, and she did some newspaper work. I'd have to look at her files again, but yes, she ran. Somebody came in that she knew and asked her to help open a bookstore at Skidmore.
Okay.
Because they had the campus bookstore, but they wanted more of a comfortable, kind of regular bookstore where
Yes.
students could hang out and read and yeah.
Right.
Yes, novels and whatnot, instead of just textbooks. So
Right.
so she opened that bookstore and ran that for a few years. And I think around the time that closed for whatever reason, probably funding and
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
politics or something, that's when she expanded out here and made this her livelihood. And then she gave a lot of talks around the area about book collecting and stuff like that.
Yeah, there are some essays and articles that she, I guess, op-ed, whatever stuff that she wrote that was published about the hobby of, or whatever, the passion for collecting sets of books and antiquarian stuff, and I don't know, it's interesting, that she was out promoting the idea of collecting Nancy Drew sets for young people, like get into it and get obsessive about owning every.
So she was an investor, kind of, in a way.
Yeah. So I don't know. I find that interesting.
That must have been the heyday of rare books, though, right? Sort of the mid 20th century.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the internet changed everything, and
Of
we're
course.
complete novices. We honestly have no idea what we're doing.
Well, this is why I'm kind of excited to talk to
Yeah.
both of you, because Edie Brown, 40 years in the game, right? Like, a lot of wisdom, but I'm kind of more curious to hear about how you folks have found it completely new. Like, I guess, okay, so this will just lead to a general question of, why did you do this? You come from LA, you go 3,000 miles and buy 100 acres out here in Washington County and start a bookstore. Why?
Well, thankfully we didn't have to start a bookstore.
Or not start,
So
actually,
that would be even crazier than moving out here to run a bookstore in a barn. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
A whim, basically. I haven't thought about I haven't told anybody this. Yeah. I mean, it's a.
We get asked this question every day.
We do. Every customer pretty much comes in and goes, "What are you doing
What
here?"
are you doing?
The grocery store is like, so you just moved. You moved here from LA. Why would you move here? Why?
Yeah. Hey, it's a fair question. I'm very glad, but I am curious.
Yeah. I mean, the real reason is that we wanted. I mean, to sum it up, is that we wanted a new life. We wanted a simpler life in ways, and so we saw this property and we're like, yeah, we can live in a 200-year-old farmhouse and sell books out of a barn.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds great, and there's a 100-acre property where our daughter can go run around and get ticks.
Get her first bout of Lyme disease.
It sounds great. There are other reasons, right? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, we hadn't been thinking about leaving LA or moving.
Right.
Even through the pandemic, we did all right and we maintained our sanity and everything. But, I stumbled on the listing for the place on Facebook. Yes. Completely random. And I sent it to him, it was kind of a joke, and it's like, we could go do this thing. And he was like, well, I don't know, let's look into it. And we kind of just kept following the whim.
Yeah.
And, a year later from when we saw the listing, here we are.
I mean, look, there's a lot to be said for planning, but sometimes it's just a hindrance in some ways, Like I lived in New York City for 15 years and pandemic got me back here,
Yeah.
Big lifestyle change.
I've had a few people who've done that, who were in New York City and now they're back in this area.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were a lot of, as we started thinking about this, there were a lot of strange things that kind of started pointing us this way. I told my best friend from high school about this, and she said, "Oh, my best friend from college grew up there, and I think she took me to that bookstore." And
cool.
Yeah, and turns out, that she did, and she, had been coming here since she was a kid, and she had recently moved to Glens Falls from the city, and
Nice.
so she, was able to kind of tell us about the area, and
She was able to actually take video.
she came and took a video tour of the house for us,
Cool.
which was helpful because the
80-year-old realtor selling that property didn't know how to use her phone.
Oh my gosh.
So,
yeah, she sent photos, but she said, "Yeah, I can't take a video. I'm not that savvy." So, it was helpful to have kind of a, bit of a lifeline out here to introduce us to the area and reassure us, like, oh, there's young people, there's young families around here,
Yes.
and if you come here, you'll have a built-in network if you want it, and so that was helpful. And we couldn't stop thinking about it once we started thinking about it, and that felt like, okay, we got to do this. This is a once in a lifetime thing.
Truly. I was actually, it never really got to a serious point, but I was also thinking of buying this place. I'm not even joking.
You're not the only person. I was just discussing this with her last night. There have been multiple people that come in and say, well, we didn't want this place to go under, so we asked our daughter to buy it, or we asked somebody, or we seriously thought about buying it, but no one was crazy enough to actually do it except for us.
I mean, to be honest, it feels incredible. Like, if you can swing it, 100 acres that's a huge amount of territory. I don't know, and then you had to buy the inventory as part of the overall price, but that basically was in place for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, part of what made this work was that we were fortunate to have a house in LA, and the market was so insane that financially it helped this make sense for us. We bought the inventory was separate, but it was all here. It was
right.
So we've bought a bunch since we've gotten here, but it was all kind of set up. We just, as Edie said, you just open the doors and
What was Edie's kind of wisdom parting words for you guys? She leave any caveats or any just sort of life hacks maybe for you guys or something?
She walked us through stuff, but it's been kind of just as we go. We're like, wait, how does this work? How do we do this? She's like, oh yeah, well, you do this.
Right.
She's been wonderfully helpful, but it's, there's no handbook.
Right. Yeah. So she's just free to call at any point. Is that kind of what she's doing for you guys?
Yeah, she's been great. Yeah, and we've gone on book buys with her, and she helped us kind of figure that out. But she's also trying to give us distance, to figure it out for ourselves. And because when she and Hank bought the place, Barbara moved literally up the road.
Oh.
So
hanging out.
Yeah.
One house away,
which is like a mile away, but still, she's literally up the road, which was helpful for them, I think. But and I don't know how much Barbara hovered, but Edie told us, she's like, I don't want to hover. You got to ask me to hover.
No helicopter parenting.
Exactly.
Exactly. What does a book buy entail?
Going to some creepy person's house, or no? Okay. No.
Okay, do tell.
Going to the house where someone has died, and some
estate sale's a big one.
Some older children, a child of the deceased is trying to get rid of all of the books in the basement or the garage or whatever it is.
It's like American Pickers, but just books, right? Like you're just like looking for the gold, essentially.
Yeah. It's a little different in that I don't know American Pickers, but we do want to take some bulk, like we'll take stuff that we general fiction that we can sell in the store, but so we often make an offer to the seller, just for the lot of what is here, how many boxes, how many books, whatever we average whatever price we make for each book, and and each book gets that. But then when we take them home, we're looking through them, and we're like, oh, we find those gems that are like, well, this is worth a lot more than the 50 cents we paid for it. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
what resources do you use to check the like actual value for?
We use Abe mostly.
Abe Books is great.
Yeah. You know, if I can't find it on there, there's biblio.com and Adall is another one that combs it combs Amazon and eBay and Abe and other stuff. That one's a little clunkier, but
I'll admit I found some steals in this store.
I bet
a couple times.
We have found a few things that were severely underpriced.
Yeah.
We've repriced a few things, but
It's been here a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot that hasn't been repriced in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, we have books that Barbara priced that nobody's bought or touched, since. So that's always interesting.
Is there a crown jewel in this store right now?
Well, the most valuable thing that we know of
is the Ramones record I
just got.
No. Oh yeah, you're sorry. We'll get to that later.
We'll get to the No, the vinyl is it's a whole other world. But yeah, I think the most valuable thing that we are aware of, because there's a lot that we don't even know that we have, is a Sherman Alexie chapbook.
Oh, cool.
That we got in just a whole batch of poetry from somebody.
Yeah.
That's I think his second chapbook, if I remember, and that's like $1,000.
Yeah.
Something.
Okay.
So
now we're in the rare book territory.
Yeah, which is funny. The poetry has been an interesting thing because poetry was not Edie's thing.
Mm-hmm.
So she, a lot of that was underpriced.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, this looks like a stapled, piece of 2 pieces of paper, and she's like $1.50, and I'm like, but this is so and so, like this is actually so much more.
Like
it's
a
so
hand
rare
stapled chapbook from
exactly. So, with the small level of expertise in poetry that I have, I've dug into that section, but
yeah, I mean that's definitely something we've learned about Edie, and it's good that she's giving us the space to kind of figure out our own thing. Is that she sold a lot what she thought would sell. It must have sold for years. She knew her customers, but we want to attract new customers, so we have to follow what we're interested in. The passions that we have. With regard to what literature and and the vinyl records and the things that we're interested in, and sell that. And so she loves poetry, and she's discovering, this stuff is underpriced, and we're we can sell it, and we have been selling it. And a lot of the stuff that Edie said that we would sell a lot of, we are selling a lot of it, but we're also selling other things that she had put in the other book barn, which was it's farther away.
Underrated barn.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it's covered in dust, and the animals live in there and everything. So we started pulling stuff out of there and putting it, cleaning it up and putting it in other rooms in the main bookstore, and it turns out they'll sell if you just put them in a place where there's light and people can see them. So.
And this place, I don't know if you know, it is nationally recognized.
Is it?
I know it. I'm sure it doesn't feel financially or as though it were, but like for people like myself and I guess our listeners and just people that are on Abe Books all the time and making Meccas out to different spots around the country to go specifically to bookstores, this is known. This is a known place.
Yeah, some people know about it. Edie did do really good business on Abe. We haven't gotten set up online yet, but she's modest about it, but she, people in town that we know are like, oh yeah, I'd see her every day at the post office with a trunk full of boxes of books,
right.
And
she's raking it in.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like it reminds me of like the wine business, how a lot of wine stores now also conduct most of their business online somehow.
Oh really?
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, to her credit, her and Hank, they jumped on the internet,
quick.
Pretty early on because they realized that it was changing the business, and
good for them.
They had to adapt, and they did, and they survived. And yeah, because, as I was going to say before, like that, we're total novices, but we're learning about this business and the history of this business. And that was, the internet was the great equalizer for everything. And, in terms of rare books, it's only as rare as, so many people know about it. And with the internet, many more people can find a book.
Yes. Yeah.
Before that, it was like, you go into a bookshop and they'll tell you,
yeah,
oh yes, this is very rare and this is
like,
worth this much.
You're getting car salesman.
Right, but then with the internet, it turns out, there's hundreds of copies of this thing around the world. It just,
It's like Carfax now.
Right.
Now you know. Well, yeah, I'm curious. You guys were talking about, you guys literally have no prior engagement with having even tangentially knew someone who ran a bookstore. You've never even read a book. No. That's crazy. And you teach literature, right? How do you do it? It's almost impressive.
It's all books on audio books. Yeah. No, I just listen to books.
Well, have you seen one of my favorite movies is called Metropolitan. I can't remember who it's by, but like there's a quote from one of the main characters. They're all like snotty New York Metropolitanites going to like parties, and they're all like 19, and he's like talking about Jane Eyre with some girl, and she's like arguing with him about what he was been saying, sort of in a critical vein, and she's like, what are you talking about? I think it actually means this. He's like, I haven't read the book. I have a list of critics who I really like, and I just read that, and then I can just reference those opinions without having to think. So you were sort of referencing Edie's own take on the business and what to stock. One of the questions actually from one of our listeners, have to shout it out, was like, I don't know if you have like a robust answer for this yet, but like, what did Edie prioritize? You mentioned like poetry and whatnot, but like, how are you going to potentially navigate shelf space and the kind of deal with the devil of like popular literature to some things that you might think are more like worthwhile, and keeping that within the, I don't know, sort of vision of this spot moving forward?
That has been part of our education is, we have our certain tastes, and, we're kind of snobs.
Good.
But
elitism in this realm is my favorite. Yeah.
I was joking with a librarian friend about Maeve Binchy. I'm like, who is that? She's like, I think my grandmother read her. I think she's Irish, and
Yeah.
And we got a lot of her books on the shelf,
Maeve.
and I was like, who's this lady with these giant books taking up my bookshelf space?
No, we're gonna make room for whatever that TikTok person is that you guys were discussing that article.
There's a TikTok person?
Oh, there was Colleen Hoover. Yeah, Colleen Hoover.
Colleen Hoover, yeah.
The queen of book talk or
actually,
whatever.
the person who asked this question referenced specifically Colleen Hoover.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Colleen Hoover, and like obviously like James Patterson and
yeah. I mean, the mysteries and that stuff. We do have some James Patterson. The mysteries, like I was familiar enough from like my parents, and then there's enough advertising for all those that we knew that, so it's like that's easy enough to.
You got to wean people into George Simenon. That's the gateway drug I found to like heavier literature, to use a drug metaphor for some reason, but yeah. Get him off Lee Child and go to George Simenon.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's, you got to stock what people want to buy. And it's, I mean, I have found that, people buy, some people bought Jodi Picoult or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Debbie Macomber is another one.
Yeah.
Your grandma bought a Debbie Macomber book.
Really? I didn't know
that. But
the parents have to come in, grandparents have to come in and start supporting right first. So you're doing so good.
Yeah, right. But people, and then people buy, the classic stuff and the, so it seems like a fair balance. We're we're figuring it out, and it depends on what comes up when we're out buying too. 'Cause if that stuff is not, out there for us to get, then,
it's not for sale.
It's not going to go on the shelf, but.
What are your guys's I won't ask you the full top what's your favorite book question. But I guess more broadly, what are the things you are reading currently, and what do you hope to you said poetry, which is great. I feel like
we're in in a poetry intensive month right now. Sydney challenged me and herself to read a book of poetry every day for the month, for every day of August.
Yeah, it's the Seeley Challenge.
The Seeley Challenge?
Yes. Nicole Seeley is a poet.
Okay.
And created this challenge a few years ago, I guess, as a way to get herself to read more poetry, and then shared it with everyone. Because, most poetry books are short enough to read
I was
in
about
a
to
day
say.
if you have the time. If you don't have a 4-year-old in a business to read.
Poetry is not the way to read poetry, but there we are. Like, it's like 1:45, and I'm like, I'm going to fall asleep, and I have to finish this Ferlinghetti book right now.
I love the idea of just busting through Ferlinghetti. Like, oh God, I'm on assignment. Yeah, because I was thinking like you can't be doing like John Berryman or like just some modernist giant.
There are some you can bend the rules a little bit, that as people have suggested on online lists. Like you can, if you're reading a collected works, you can read just the selections from a certain book or whatever, and then go on to the next one.
All right,
or
folks.
Do a chapbook. So
Seeley Challenge.
Yeah.
It's out there just so everyone's aware here. Can I ask favorite poet then for both of you, even if it's just vibing right now?
My all-time favorite is probably Yusuf Komunyakaa.
Okay.
And Anne Carson is another one.
I wouldn't say she's my favorite, but she's up there.
You gotta say one for yourself.
I was a poetry major, so I'm.
Oh, I see.
Poetry snob.
It's a burning hole in the Spine Crackers as a brand entity. It's a burning hole in our sort of like literary education that we're trying to fix, and we find that a lot of people kind of don't read a lot of poetry, even if they're really into fiction and stuff, like heavy fiction. So it's just interesting, and I'm glad that you guys are like into poetry or like trying to like expand that a little bit, because I feel like it's the more, I don't know, this might be a spicy take, but it feels like the more important form of the written word in some ways. To me, that's a personal opinion.
I think I agree with you, but I feel, but then I've taught English classes for the last 10 years. Some at an advanced level, mostly at a remedial sort of level in first year college classes, right? So, I don't teach poetry or Shakespeare in any of those classes. I want to. I appreciate that stuff. I appreciate fiction. I don't teach a lot of fiction because I just want the students to be interested in the subject and want to read.
Okay.
So getting people to read is and maybe at least find it somewhat pleasurable or interesting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? To turn off the phone and all the distractions and sit and read and enjoy reading something. That's really hard to do. And when you put poetry in front of some people, it's over. They're just like, this is like looking at some sort of mathematical equation for me, right? When I look at when I look at say I don't know what, like chemistry textbook or a I don't know, mathematics, advanced mathematics, I'm like,
eyes glazed.
Yeah, it's just I shut down. Or no, like when people start talking economics, which I love, like, say, Freakonomics and stuff that's like that comes from different angles and uses economics, but it's like when you start talking about I don't know, the markets and stuff, my eyes glaze over. And which is why I'm selling books out of a barn instead of I don't know, investing in something.
Exactly.
Something more profitable.
Too much market literacy, I'm telling you. It's a brain disease. It's not going to help you with the more, I don't know, like in the bigger picture, good thing to do, I suppose. You're not a homo economicus, as they would say, a perfectly rational actor in a marketplace. Yeah.
No, there's no rationality here at all. Oh
no, the coffee's down.
Good thing we have concrete floors.
Yeah, Just let it soak in. It's character.
There's paper towels in the cabinet. Where? Before it gets to in the cabinet right there. Oh, nice. Hurry, it's going towards the old carpet.
It's moving like the... Oh, we're not. We're just going to do a live... We're going to shoutcast the coffee's movements. It's like the Quicksilver thing in the movie Sphere. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. Damn, I'm alienating my guests. I'm sorry. No, that's not what this is about. That's a whole other thing. Well, I was gonna ask if you did you mean like that you all that's left? It seemed to me in that equation you were just sort of mentioning was nonfiction, like essays.
Wait, this is another thing we were just talking about yesterday. Actually, we don't have separate like essays or general nonfiction.
Ooh,
section.
You gotta, yeah, that's good.
I think because we don't have a ton of those collections, like. We've got like Zadie Smith's collection is just next to her fiction in our fiction section, which is how Edie did it. That's why it's like that. But something we're thinking about. But
yeah,
it's I don't know.
I like the good essay collection. I think it's like a really readable, but not. I don't know. You feel like you're getting the best of both worlds. Like you're getting like a sort of the profound condensed thoughts of people, and then also you can get through in like little chunks, and you feel like you've accomplished something.
Yeah. I agree.
I teach a lot of that, like personal essays, and memoir. The class that I was teaching when the world ended, the pandemic, was an advanced high school. Like I was in conjunction with the college I was teaching at. I was teaching at a high school in downtown Los Angeles. Memoir. It wasn't just seniors. It was like sophomores, juniors, and seniors mixed in this class. I was teaching memoir, and I'm like, oh my God, how could you write memoir? Like, what are you gonna what can I teach you? But it was a challenge, and then it went online. Halfway through the semester, became even more challenging.
Yeah.
But then the whole situation of being in the pandemic where everything had locked down, closed down, and life had changed completely. I was like, write about that, everybody. And
suddenly everyone has some.
And everyone had this place to kind of dump all their, their feelings and stuff and express themselves. So it was great. That was great. Anyway, this is not related to anything other than that. I think memoir isn't or personal essay writing is an important genre, and we should have a section for it.
Well, I think it is related in the sense that like if you're teaching younger people to read essentially and to find what would be interesting in sitting down and being quiet and paying attention to something for a stretch of time they might not be used to, I think that directly relates to running a bookstore, right? Like it's a little bit of like human psychology maybe, but I presumably the same project is kind of innately in this business too, right? To a degree, as part of it. It's like you want younger, new customers, you're saying, to sort of come in and...
Yes, and this is why maybe this is a good time to talk about the vinyl, because it seems that younger people, won't buy, books. They won't spend $20 on a graphic novel. Well, a certain type of.
Oh, I would, yeah.
I'm sure you would, but they will spend whatever on a 20 to 30, $40 on vinyl records.
Mm-hmm.
So, we thought, since I'm also a musician and I'm a collector of vinyl, that would be good for the business, because we had some records here. We had classical records for sale, and I know this is not a podcast about records, so we won't go.
No, this is a little bit now about a podcast about your store.
I'm just seeing them as a way to keep the bookstore going. Is to attract more younger people. Because. I don't know. I find that people come up here. There is someone who's not interested in books with someone who is interested in books.
Yeah.
If they can, if I can give them a few other things to look at,
true,
they'll stay here and maybe buy some books.
I think the cassette
Yeah, the cassette.
The cassette market is actually an underrepresented one. I'm not even kidding.
So I worked in the music industry for 10 years.
Oh shit, really? I'm
And,
sorry. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
bleep that.
Cool.
And during my time there, suddenly, vinyl started coming back. So I was a graphic designer, so we were making, vinyl packaging and everything. And then suddenly we were making cassette packaging.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are we doing here? What is going on?
Nostalgia is powerful. It's just very powerful.
I don't know where you find a cassette player, but apparently people are into cassettes, which is strange because they sound like garbage. But
they sound better than garbage. No, they sound better. They sound better than the streaming digital stuff that you get on your phone.
The compression wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a good move. I mean, I always regarded vinyl to probably be look into the future of unfortunately maybe books a little bit too, more like fetish art objects for a lot of people than just some natural part of their life. It's like.
Yeah, I mean that when as a former designer, that was part of it. Was like, okay, the art was getting smaller and smaller.
Right.
You're down to a tiny thumbnail on your phone or whatever. And part of vinyl is that it's a big, beautiful, product.
Fold outs
it folds out, and you get, you can do a poster in there and all that stuff. Part of it is the art object, aside from how, it does tend to sound better. But
I always said the last bastion of kind of good commercial outsider art is beer bottles and cans.
Oh.
It's the last place you see I see crazy, like the Ralph Steadman kind of you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is good. One of my personal bugaboos is the current state of book design.
Mm.
Do you agree that it's bad right now? Or do you have a more measured take than me? That's such a broad question.
And like I was saying, like we've been learning about all these authors that we as book snobs know about. When I got started in design, 10, 15 years ago, like book design was starting to kind of come back as an exciting thing. At that time, I feel like there were a lot of book design blogs and there was cool stuff going on, and so that was fun. And then I feel like it got very samey.
Yeah.
There were formulas for what looked good, and it just kind of, so there's stuff that looks good, but it all looks the same. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm also not as up on it, what's coming out now, honestly, as I was before when I was a young person.
There is something about old books, though.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Let me check the time here, guys, because I know I don't want to Oh, this is perfect. Okay. So I guess I was going to ask sort of final question. If you have any burning thoughts that either of you want to get out, or any plugs you want to make or anything. And just a message to the people, even, just something rousing, like a Spartacus speech or something.
I'm sure you've said it before on this podcast, but support your local independent bookstore. Not just the ones out in the middle of nowhere in barns, but the ones that carry the new books. Pay a little more for your books. Keep these businesses going, because I don't know, they were important to me as a kid. I mean, this is why I thought this was a great idea to come out here and sell books out of a barn, because I remember going to bookstores and going to libraries and enjoying being there. We were just talking about the library yesterday. Yeah, support your libraries.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's good. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
Libraries
guys,
are great too. You don't have to buy the book. It's okay.
It's true. It's totally fine. People don't have to be weird pack rats like me and a lot of people I know where it's like they want to live in a canyon of books.
Yeah.
The store is at 166 Riddle Road.
Yep.
In Greenwich.
There you go.
New York. So if you're around, or even like 5 hours away, come drive, check it out.
It's a beautiful drive.
It's a beautiful drive. It's a beautiful time of year to come and check it out. It's a nice journey. And I guess my final question, again, vaguely for both of you, is just like, what are you kind of hoping happens? What's like the best case scenario for this place and for you guys out here? Addendum, do you think you'll turn a profit in this store?
We actually, it is very exciting. We just in the last week or two realized that from what we've invested from the beginning of taking this on, from here on out, it's profit.
That's great.
Rich.
That's huge.
We're gonna be totally rich.
Yeah. I can't wait. You guys are gonna be changed. You're gonna be driving your Porsches into this driveway.
We're gonna be taking over the world. We'll be opening various stores across the country. Watch out, Amazon. We're coming for you.
Oh, damn. That's a Bezos gauntlet throw.
You're going to get his podcast
You don't
canceled.
want that.
You better be careful.
No, it's good. The man's insane.
He must be stopped. No, it's just, we want to keep this institution going where, we feel a responsibility taking this on and we don't want to ruin it. We don't want to change it too much from what people have loved about it, but we want to bring it into the next phase and, I don't know, do
new generations to come up here to the middle of nowhere on this dirt road and walk around on our property.
Mm-hmm. Just random people you've never seen.
Yeah.
Your daughter's playing outside.
Right.
They're just there. Yeah.
That's what we want. No, really, we do. We want new families to come in and bring their kids to the children's section and then wander about looking at the various stacks of dusty old books we have here. Yeah.
My only guess is that if you play into hipster elitism, that will serve you well, and especially if you're on like Instagram and whatnot, because I know a lot of like booktube people on YouTube. That's kind of where we reside, and then bookstagrammers, right?
Yep.
It's all kind of cringe and like gross to think about, but like just from a numbers game, it seems to work if you can take very #aesthetic photos of books and stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
we're maybe slightly too old to fully know what we're doing on social media, but
I doubt
but
that.
we,
you guys are good.
TikTok is a whole world that we haven't gotten into.
I don't understand how that would.
The video aspect of TikTok is a little bit much for me, but it seems to be all going that way. Instagram and Facebook have changed their formats. It's all that now. So we better figure that out soon. But yeah, we can take some pictures of books. We're pretty good at that. Yeah, they do.
You got a beautiful property, so it'd be easy,
Yep.
Yeah, that final thought seems a little commercial and kind of sad. But no, really exciting for you guys to have taken this on. It sounds like a huge risk. I'm very happy to see that this business is going to keep going on. I will myself be here shopping for sure. So,
well, good. We look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah.
Bring your friends.
If we'll give you like 15 minutes now if you want to wander around and buy something.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I will do that.
All right.
Well, we're gonna end this then, so I can go do
then
that.
We're closing up.
Then you gotta report. You gotta report back on what you buy, though.
I will. I
your
have some books
listeners
for
what you
you
find.
as well if you're interested. I don't know
okay.
if you do donations.
We love donations.
This wasn't meant to be like me unloading like crap on you. I think they're actually
we like donations.
Okay, so I'll let you know if you're interested in any of them. You can please
right.
take them because I want to contribute somehow. But
yeah, continue the cycle. Books in and out.
That's right. All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed that, and I don't know, just bye. Bye.